Hello all, welcome to another stream. This is going to be um, ever so slightly different because I'm streaming in the daytime. You might be able to see that there's actual sunlight coming in. Even though this is the winter and we get sunlight hours of about, I don't know, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. But there is sunlight out there at the moment. I'm just trying this out because I want to stream every Friday night, but I went to see the Book of Mormon last night, so I got home a little bit too late to do that. But I think Friday nights are good. I've had good Friday night streams before, so this is kind of my replacement stream for Friday night. The other reason, as I'm seeing drop frames, just gonna fix that. The other reason I'm streaming today, besides making up for Friday night being missed, is that I'm 3 followers, 3 followers, just 3. You can see it at the top between events and following. 3 followers away from my follower goal, and it's probably going to be the last follower goal I'll ever have, the first and last follower goal I'll ever have, because if I look at my achievements, which I am not sure where, oh, near the top. That's the only follower related thing I actually ever will need, as my internet goes even worse. That's good. Always good to have perfectly stable internet until you start streaming, and then not anymore. So yeah, 94% to 50 followers. You can see on the left there, I'm meeting all the 3 other requirements for affiliate, so I just need those 50 followers. And it's a long way to go, but if I ever want to make partner, there is no follower requirement for partner. It's only a requirement for affiliate. And as far as I'm aware, there's no sort of Twitch level above partner. So once I have 50 followers, I won't even care if I lose followers, because I just need it once for long enough to get an affiliate invite. And after that, it's all about average viewers and number of days streamed in the last 30 days, number of hours streamed in the last 30 days, that kind of thing. But back to the system, because browsing websites only makes my internet worse, because I'm attached to an ADSL dongle. So what's going to happen in today's stream? Well, I have Skylake X, sorry, KBLake X, which is arguably, you know, at least sort of in the top 2 in terms of IMCs for DDR4. And I also have Haswell, which is without a doubt the best IMC around, or best architecture around for DDR3. I don't have cold at the moment, but I don't think it matters too much because I have to bin through some sticks first anyway. So in terms of memory ICs, dropping my frame rate further because I'm still seeing some drop frames. Just gonna close out some tabs. This is Aussie internet. This is exactly what it's like to have internet in Australia. So let's see. I just accidentally closed my browser completely. Aussie life, yes, Rani will tell you. I live in this city where theoretically the internet would be better, but Rani's out in the countryside where it's worse. It's probably even worse. So you shouldn't feel too bad for me, because yeah, some people's internets are worse. 20 megabit up, yeah, that's great. Thanks for rubbing that in my face. So should I talk about NBN? I don't know. It's sort of a depressing topic, but we have this hyper sort of well, how can I even describe the NBN? Many years ago we had this plan in Australia to for the government to subsidize. I'll send you some bandwidth. Thanks, Randy. That's much appreciated. We had this plan to subsidize a national broadband network, NBN, and it would then be sort of operated privately, but it was sort of the initial infrastructure expenses would be part covered by the government, and this was done by a centre-left government. And before they could sort of realize their plan, which was fiber to the premises for everybody, which is just amazing. That's gonna be the best thing ever for internet for the next 50 years at least. So it's a huge investment, but it really pays off because you never have to upgrade it. One of the ways that the centre-right government that's currently in power managed to win the election was by saying, while centre-left was in power, that they would make it cheaper because it's too expensive. They would do I don't know what. And they got voted in and they completely fucked it up. I'm not saying that the other government that was voted out would have done a better job, but at least there's the potential of that happening because the way the NBN is now is it's just a lot of copper, horrible speeds, just too much oversubscription and stuff. And the gist of that whole story is that I'm not even on the NBN yet. So I'm on a level of internet that's worse than this really horrible internet that is still being rolled out across Australia. So that's how bad that is. But the light at the end of the tunnel is that we're getting 5G next year. So maybe mobile internet will be the answer. But I think phones are it's going to be like 4G, where 5G plans are going to be really expensive. It's going to have a really limited coverage area, and the phones that support it are going to be really bad as well. So yeah, so that's internet. So if you see any drop frames, I'm doing my best locally here on my PC to make sure I'm not taking up any resources and stuff, but sometimes there's just nothing I can do about it. So yeah, I'm going to do DDR max frequency. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, I do realize that, but I do have some story time to tide you over with while I'm running that. Yeah, so, White Shark, hi White Shark. So basically, that's what I'm going to bench. There are a few reasons why I'm sort of benching I don't want to say more boring benches, but the benches that are sort of not as exciting to look at as a viewer now is because, like I said earlier, I'm really close to being affiliate, and I would like to, once I'm affiliate, sort of start it off with a bang and do LN2 benches, do really interesting streams. So I'm sort of saving up some of the hardware and some of the benches that I need to bench and that are going to be really fun and exciting for the point where I'm going to be affiliate. But the other reason I'm holding out is because there's a package on its way at the moment from Taiwan with a capture card in it. And I'd also like for YouTube, for my own archive, to have the good sort of the really exciting benching sessions to be recorded on capture card. So hopefully you guys understand that. But in the meantime, I do have to reach that follower goal. So I'm streaming today, and we might learn something. I have a pretty reasonable number of sticks lying around here. So I've got 2 kits of they're all numbered as well, sort of like this. I've got a kit of 3866 G-Skill RGB, and RGB clocks better than non-RGB in general. So I'll be binning that last because I expect the best results from it. But I have to say I have the 7640X in there right now because it's under blue tack and I had it on LN2 a couple of weekends ago. So I'm going to try that first. However, I have a feeling that the IMC is pretty bad. So what might happen is, when I'm getting through these 2 kits of Flare X 3200 B-die, if I'm seeing a pattern of every stick just clocking virtually the same, I'm going to take out the CPU and put in the 7740X, which is the top bin of Kaby Lake X. It can't have an absolutely terrible IMC. There's just no way. With that, I'm going to just... my second system, which I'll hopefully get to, is a Maximus 6 gene, so a Z97 M80X, which I'm just going to try and show you now. So this is a Gene. It's got really cheap ceramic paste on it, but I have it on good authority that uh, basically, unless you've got the limited release slash engineering sample Gigabyte LN2 board, this is more or less as good as it gets in terms of just DDR frequency and just general overclocking. This basically has the same guts as an extreme board. So obviously it doesn't have a PLX chip, so if there was some reason you needed to go like really, really, really high BCLK, I don't know how that works on Haswell actually. Maybe you no longer have to put your VGA into the PLX chip attached PCI Express slot. But in any case, this has multipliers up to 3200 or whatever, and I think on Haswell BCLK overclocking is kind of different anyway to Ivy Bridge and Sunny Bridge. But what I'm trying to say is this is not going to hold me back at all. My kit of MFR is HyperX. It's a 2600 bin, CL11 obviously, and 4 gigabytes per stick. That's how MFR works. I think there might be double-sided MFR as well, but obviously double-sided doesn't clock as well. So I'm kind of a little bit more excited about the DDR3 platform than DDR4. But saying that, I've been struggling to get XP working on my Maximus 5 Gene. So the story there is Leghof, hopefully I'm pronouncing that okay, Albrecht Mersoten, the last remaining mod on HardwareBot basically. He has mentioned to me that the BIOS to go for XP support on this particular board is 0028. So there was a different release for XP support. All the submissions I've seen are on 0028 as well. I saw one submission on 2012 release, but I reckon that the current BIOSes that are out have stripped XP support because I'm really struggling to boot XP. So that's the only thing, is if I'm BSCLKing inside the OS, I'm going to have to use like my Server 2012 install. But I do have an XP install for this system that I have on my bench right now. So let's get going. OCF. So interesting thing about OC Formula boards, ASRock or OC Formula boards. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm aware, the very first OC Formula board was the Z77. Excellent board. I think it has a SuperPi world record or second place on 3770K. Amazing, absolutely nothing wrong with it. The only thing I'll say is it doesn't have the four-way SLI support. It doesn't have a PLX chip, but those are just nitpicks. Everything else is amazing. It's eATX. It has water blocks. I have one on the way. It's that good. So there, on Z77 there was really only the Maximus 5 Extreme and the Z77 OCF. After that there was Z87, Z97. So the two chipsets, I think 97 did have some better RAM OC. But the thing is, those OC, I don't know anybody really who's run those and said that those boards and said that they were good. Yeah, Randy, what's the 87M like? Because I've sort of heard mixed things. So there was the M80X version of for Z87, and I think M80X of the Z97 was really rare. I don't see many subs around. But so the M80Xs are just cut down versions of the main board. It's not like the later release of the OC Formula, where the MOCF, the famous Z170 MOCF, had 2 DIMMs instead of 4, and it was just so much better. Yeah, so the Z87 and Z97 OCFs, MOCFs, were basically just the same board, just with less features. So those were no good. Then the full size versions, I don't know, maybe ASRock just didn't have enough like guys on payroll basically to overclock in the Haswell era, but Aces and Gigabyte ran away with it. So I'm not too sure how good those boards are. They could be as good as the Gene, but all I'm saying is the Gene is basically, in terms of RAM OC, the same as the full size Maximus, and that is for sure the best board. The OCF might come close to it, but there's no discussion there. That has all of the records and everything. So what else do we have in terms of OC formulas? There was also a really rare X99 OC formula, and obviously now there's the X299 OC formula, which has its issues. I think the Rampage is probably better. I'm not an Aces fanboy. It just so turns out that the platforms that we're talking about today have been kind of dominated by Aces. Yeah. And then there was the Z170 OCF, which was no good, but the MOCF is legendary. I have a copy of that. All right, I've cleared CMOS here. Let's actually do some overclocking or attempt to. So, the last time I attempted Max DDR4, I did it on single stage, and I did it on Windows XP or Windows 7. So now this is going to be Windows XP. So we should get more stability in terms of how far we can clock up the PCLK in OS. And this is a different BIOS as well. This is an XOC BIOS. So I'm hoping that what I've seen on the 7640X in terms of bad IMC maybe could have been just a BIOS or OS issue. Is the title correct? Yeah, only Max DDR. So I wanted to go. This is turning into a huge story time. I'm sorry for rambling on, but I wanted to go live about 2 hours ago. But then turns out I had no milk for my cereal for my breakfast, and that's really, really, really bad. So I had to go shopping. The traffic was terrible. I also wanted to delid some GTX 480s and GTX 570s on stream, but I can't find my razors. So yeah, DDR max frequency. Let's just go. This could turn out to be quite fun actually. It's one of the purest sort of benches. You know, there's not much tweaking you can do. So I've cleared my everything. I'm not loading XMP because XMP is CL12 on this. Yeah, White Shark. That's a whole other issue. So it didn't take me 2 hours of driving to get milk, but it was just sort of like stuff kept piling up. It took me longer to get to. First I didn't think I needed to go shopping, then I went shopping, the traffic was worse than I expected. Then I came home, I got a phone call, then I was looking for my razors thinking they were on my desk. They weren't, I couldn't find them. Whatever. Oh, XMP is CL14. Let's try XMP actually. Let's see where this stick goes for XMP. I'm just curious. Multi-core enhancement off. I think hyperthreading off is still the done thing for max frequency. Gonna go with 2 cores. Thermometer off. Where's our hyperthreading? Must be in the extreme tweaker. Auto RAM ratio is obviously on. SVID off. Let's go 3866 first. Sync all cores, go like 1.5 gigahertz is fine. Last time I tried this, that's the really interesting thing is the frequency, the highest frequency ever set on a 7350K in a competition was by R. Sanino, and it was done on 3N, but I couldn't get 3N to work. So yeah, it's a little bit interesting because I mean in a purely theoretical sense, 3N should give you more clocks. But it's only on Asus boards, and it's hit and miss. It seems I'll try and work it again today. Load the raw megahertz profile. Not sure there is a profile. Are you saying the DRAM timing profile or the overall overclocking profile? Yeah. So the 2N versus 3N will be really interesting to see. C30, yeah. And the other thing is, one Maximus tweak is better than the other. So for sure 2N to start with. I can disable turbo because I'm not going to be mult overclocking. Not that it matters. Triggers paradise. Self-track clocking enable to increase BCLK. FCLK, I've heard of people saying that that's good, but not sure I'm going to have the time to mess around with that today. Gonna max this out. Spread spectrum. Disable to get more accurate base clocks. Slew rate. That can be stay on all. Okay. High CPU BCLK for slew rate. When I think it was Neo who did the DDR4 sub for last year's team competition. He told me that his sticks maxed out in terms of frequency at 1.7, so I'm going to stick with 1.7. I reckon my chips might need more than that. My sticks might need more than that because they're sort of a little bit degraded and stuff. DRAM voltage. That's what I might do. I might just bin at 1.7 and then go back to the best stick. Core and cache voltage. Disable adaptive. Let's see. Yeah, 1.7 does sound low, but you've got to remember you're at really loose timings. Yeah, I'm in the slot that's closest to the CPU. I'm liking the look of my rig cam today. Obviously you can't see very much there, but it's really emphasizing the RGB and the boot code display, which is what's most important, obviously. Yeah, White Shark, have you ever done DDR4 max frequency? You know, if I have time, what could be really cool is DDR4 max frequency on Ryzen to see if I can beat the current record, which is I think only 4,000 and a few, like 4,020 or something. Okay, we're at 3867. Let's go multipliers only first. So the last multiplier is 4266. But I'm going 4,000 first. See how that works. Yeah, FS. Yeah, so Randy, for platforms, that makes sense, because for platforms where you run out of DDR multipliers, memory multipliers, like Sandy. I don't know if Sandy has FCLK, but if it did, then you'd use FCLK to get higher BCLK. That looks like a weird sort of hang. No, it's not. So 4,000 C14, nothing amazing. Gonna say 4,000 as a baseline. I'm trying to remember what happened last time I did this. It either didn't improve OC at all to go 3N command rate, or I was unable to clock as high. One of those two. So I discarded the whole idea of 3N. But as I say, I'm on an XOC bias at the moment. Thanks for joining me, guys. I hope I get one or two randomers to join the stream and press the follow button, because I'm so close. At this point I should just ask like random friends just to press follow. It's just one click. 3 people have to do 1 click for me to get to my goal. So 4133, that's pretty good. I will say if I get to the point where I need to go into OS to BCLK up a bit and to get a validation, I may have to save the profile and go back to optimize with defaults, because oh, hold on, I have XP, so I have 640 megabytes maximum, so that should work. So if this strap works, I'm already kind of happy, because C14 at 4266 is pretty legit. I'm seeing a 26 though. Lots of retries incoming, guys. A minimum of 3 retries per setting on this kind of bench. So somebody on Reddit got XP working on Ryzen. Now Chu, who's a pretty, like a pretty well-known overclocker who's been around the scene for a long time, says he's run SuperPi 32M on XP on Ryzen, but there's something that makes it much slower than Win 7, like some sort of missing instruction support or something. So I reckon that if I ever get, I do plan to get an IDE mode serial ATA card, which is what's required to get Ryzen running on this platform on Windows XP. When I do get that, it's just going to be max frequency DDR and core. I think that's going to be valid. Maybe PiFast doesn't have the same issues as SuperPi 32M, but it is a shame. It would be nice to see a like-for-like comparison between those two platforms. Current Intel and current AMD. So AR Maestro, welcome to the stream. You're seeing some legit overclocking here. Not many people do max DDR runs. Please press that follow button. You can turn off notifications if you want, but I'm 3 followers away. 3 followers away from becoming affiliate, which is a big deal. So up here, 47 followers and I need 50. So that would be much appreciated if you press that button. Okay, so gotta reload my profile because I safe booted. So 3133 worked. I'm gonna try 3N now. To the best of my knowledge, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but to the best of my knowledge, any command rate, if you have really tight timings, for example, of course there may be a combination of timings where 2N works and 1N doesn't. But to the best of my knowledge, the other way around doesn't apply. So you could have your best SuperPi 32M profile loaded up at 1N command rate, and then if you go 2N, it will retrain at that. But there's no sort of relation between the timings. Yeah, I will loosen eventually, Ronnie. I'm just trying to figure out. So this booted before, so hopefully it also boots now. Yeah, 23, is a common set of timings people use for max frequency. Just going really slow on this first stick so I can kind of save time later on. The only thing with these XOC buys is they take a long time to load up. So I would actually be curious to boot into Windows now to actually see 3N on a CPU Z screen. Let's try and boot up. Yeah, so this is FlareX. This is what a FlareX stick looks like. I have labeled them all like this, so I'm on stick number 1 currently. I'm going with the FlareX sticks first. The RGB sticks should do better. I definitely do not need high resolution here, so I'm going to drop down to 1024 by 768. That's it. I'm at 3T. Interesting. Really interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna keep SA and IO on auto for now, but we'll touch them later, obviously. Now I'm not too sure if this top multiplier even works, because that's what failed last time too. I was able to BCLK past that setting with one multiplier lower, but I was not able to even attempt 100 BCLK on that multiplier. So I'm just slowly sort of trying to weed out all the different options possible. Okay, the obvious next step would be max the timings. So I know CL31 is out of spec for DDR4, and that's why some people avoid it and go like 21. But I'm gonna just see if I can get the exact same settings running on 3N, because 3N is probably outside of the official spec for DDR4 as well. So I'm just curious to see that. While that's happening, I'm gonna pull up Arsenino's 3N magic. So that's an 01. Clearly, that's the timings. So this board has both a MemOC button and a safe mode button, and I think the difference isn't huge, but MemOC is like more in the direction of let's just drop MemOCs all back down to stock and make sure that we can train up the memory, whereas safe mode pretty much safe mode is a Windows thing. Safe boot pretty much does all that, but also picks voltages and things that will work on cold, on full pot, and also drops your core overclock. So that's just, I think that's a good demonstration to say that not all sticks love to be really, really loose. And usually the one that you go too loose on, I mean, Raz at 63 is absolutely perfectly fine. I don't think anybody runs lower than that unless the motherboard doesn't support as loose as that. I think the critical one is the cast, because you can have it too high. What I'm gonna try next is 24. Okay, where are you, Arsenino? Gotta find that memory frequency. Oh, there's actually a better sub up. It's interesting. So in case I'm gonna go back. In case people haven't noticed, what's our boot code? 01 again. Okay, I'll go further. In case people haven't noticed, this option to look at subs with a particular hardware ranked actually only just works again since introduction of revision 7, HiRobot revision 7. So here we go. So it used to be the case that you could look at the top. So here's our 2D benches. Obviously there's a ranking for those because there's actually hardware points associated with those rankings. So clicking on rankings here always worked. That was really important because you had to figure out who got how many HiRobot points and stuff like that. But then these unrelated rankings, so let's say 3 rankings restricted to only the 7350K, those broke in Hyperbots revision 7, and only just last week I noticed that these now work. So this is memory frequency only on the 7350K, and while I'm there, I'm also gonna, yes, I'm there. So there's obviously more than 10 results. And the funny thing is, my current frequency record is done on a 7350K, because at the time that was my only Skylake chip, and I did it on the MOCF. So let's get some clues from myself back in 29th of December 2017. So 7350K, obviously 2 cores, 2 threads, that's what I'm running right now. Obviously down clocked the CPU, Kaby Lake, MOCF, the most recent BIOS, that's all fine. And then I did, now this is the really funny thing, I did 31, 31, 31, 63, and I obviously got scaling out of that, and I did it on the FlareX kit. So this is actually Asus not supporting CL31, at least at 2N. Maybe I should try 2N, but no, I'll stick with 3N, see if I can get some sort of scaling out of that. Back, there's actually something happening on the main rig. Yes. So I've tried 31, I've tried 24. Maybe it is the other timing, so I'm going to go back down to 14. 16 is probably a safer bet, to be honest. While that's posting, let's go back to our Sanino. So this was the sub I was talking about. So Splave did pretty well on that chip as well, but as far as I remember, this sub is at 3N, which makes it special. So 16 posted, so it's not the other timings. Yes, I'm not misremembering. He did 21, 31, 31, 62, 3. 62 is weird. I always thought that 63 was the max on every board, but maybe it actually clocked better. So let's try that. Let's go straight up to 21. So what's everybody else overclocking? How late is it for you, White Shark? It must be like 5 a.m. for you right now. So 16 did fine. 5:35. That was a good guess by me. I've got some snakes left to eat. Nice lunchtime snack. Nice, Randy. Are you on water at the moment? Okay, let's try the higher multiplier again. $4.4G on ambient. That's pretty nice. I don't think this board is the best for max frequency, but obviously it's the only X299 board I have. So I'm getting the usual 26 postcode. Let's do one more retry. It's just that ratio is screwed. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's really 4266 is not hard for sticks to do. At least post. At least this has a memo K button. I should also be able to beat my DDR3 best, which is just over 3000. That was done on Samsung though. My Corsair Samsung's CL12. That's considered tight on DDR4. Alright, I'm just going to briefly up the voltage like to 1.95. But I just think it's that ratio. I just always get an immediate 26. Sometimes it helps on this board to power cycle rather than just retry. So White Shack, what do you do in the summers? You just pull like a night shift? I'm curious. I also don't like the heat. Lady Lex 911, welcome to the stream. Hopefully this is educational for you. DDR max frequency. If you like what I'm doing, please press the follow button. I am 3 followers away from my follower goal. My first and only follower goal, which is 50, which gets me Twitch affiliated. So any of these last 3 clicks are just super important, and I appreciate it. Oh, okay, we have a post. Or not. Press memory, okay. Maybe it's just automatic by now. I just press the button without even realizing what I'm doing. Maybe it failed itself. Let's drop back down to 1.7. See if we can, if there's absolutely anything at all we can spot that's wrong. This must say auto, surely. What's the max here? 1023. I think MSC fast boot is usually pretty good. This is the one everybody always messes around with, the clock period. Disable the full check. Okay. I'm happy with finding those 2 things. Let's try the higher multiplier. Because we're so far away, there's no point in BCLKing up now or something because we're just so far away. Hi, Lady Lex. Yeah, of course, graphics card upgrades on Haswell. So the fourth gen Intel is called Haswell, that generation of CPU, and of course, graphics card upgrades are worth it for most gamers because graphics cards are so important for gaming these days. The CPU really doesn't have too much of a role to play. So, what graphics card do you currently have, and what are you looking to upgrade to? That is looking slightly more promising, actually. I just pressed retry, and I think it's actually set the higher multiplier. Oh, okay. So it's starting to fail things on its own. I definitely didn't press the memo OK button there. I pressed retry actually. Yeah, it's starting to look like a repeat of last time. Okay, well you can. What games do you play? Let's start like that. What games do you play? So the max refresh did apply. Just curious to see if RGB RAM will do 3N as well. But I have to say, if the board is really not too happy about the high divider, then that's. Oh, Fortnite. Time for some magic spray. So that's one stick prepped. The other stick I'm just gonna throw straight into the system. Well, the four switches. Okay, so the four switches are, well, first of all, we have power, obviously, reset. To the side here, we have LN2 mode, that's off. Then we've got slow mode, so that drops the multiplier down to, I think, 8. So that's handy to save LN2 or just to make sure that the system doesn't crash while it's idling. Then one down we have the pause mode, which is used for DDR3, 3D benching. So the idea there is your system builds up just a lot of heat during a graphics test, and then you see the load screen between graphics tests where you're no longer being benchmarked. You hit the pause mode. You just take your time, maybe even take a multimeter reading or something, and fill up all your pods, so your graphics card pod and your CPU pod, to exactly the level and the temp that you want, and then you disable it. So the pause mode is quite nice because it literally just pauses execution on your system. And below that we have two more switches. They're RSVD1 and RSVD2. So X299 is a little bit of a difficult platform because it supports Skylake X and Kaby Lake X. So Kaby Lake X is like regular Kaby Lake, it's just plonked into a different socket. here. So you still have all of the minor voltages. Like I can go down, I can show you. You have core and cache voltage, you have I/O, system agent, PLL voltage, CPU standby voltage. They're like 10 to 15 different voltages because it does not have a fully integrated voltage regulator. So for that, in order to be able to full pot it, we have actually two RSVD switches. RSVD1 you use always. On my two chips, it works perfectly. I don't have to set anything else to get full pot. It's amazing. It's just like setting the correct minor voltages so you can go all the way down to minus 196 or whatever it is, LN2 temps. RSVD2 is an optional thing. So early on in the development of KB like X, Intel kind of forgot about the DMI pin. So there's basically a resistor on the back of the chip where if it's in contact with a pin, you have an extra voltage, the DMI voltage. I think I can show you where it is. I think it's in Tweaker's Paradise. DMI voltage, here we go. So DMI voltage is a thing on regular Kaby Lake because the pin exists. So every good overclocking mainboard will allow you to set DMI voltage. But on X29 and on Kaby Lake X, for some reason the Intel engineers purposely forgot about or actually forgot about putting it in. But the ASUS engineers knew that. They knew that it was basically just a repackaged Kaby Lake. So what they did is they put a little hole in the PCB underneath the socket in the center area of the CPU. Maybe I can sort of demonstrate that. So I have a spare Kaby Lake X CPU here. So if you can see the center area here, obviously all this area would be inside the socket, but I don't know which resistor it is and it's not going to show up on camera anyway, but there's a resistor on the back here where if you bring a pin in contact with that, which you can because the CPU is like, the CPU socket only covers the gold area here. There is actually a hole in the middle. So you put a pin through there, it contacts a resistor on the back of the PCB of your CPU, and if that pin is in place, then setting the DMI voltage in BIOS does something. Otherwise, you can put 99 in there, who cares? There's no pin to actually apply the voltage to the back of your Kaby Lake X chip. But obviously one of the reasons that I think that it was purposely forgotten about in the development of this platform is if you put this pin in place on a Skylake X chip, which is a chip which has a fully integrated voltage regulator and therefore doesn't have all of these minor voltages, if you put this chip in place, this pin in place, then you're very likely to kill your chip. So the situation we have now where every main board except ASUS doesn't have the pin because they just don't want to risk the idea of somebody putting a Skylake X chip in their socket with the pin in place and setting the DMI voltage and killing the chip. And we have this one ASUS board, I don't even know if the Extreme has it, but the Apex has a hole for the pin, and the package comes with two pins, so in case you lose one because they're really fiddly, and you're supposed to solder them in place. And then if you're ever going to run Skylake X, you put a bit of insulating tape over the resistor on the back of the chip in order not to kill it, because obviously you don't want to unsolder the pin every time you swap between Kaby Lake X and Skylake X. The thing is, the DMI voltage is in relation to PCI Express, so it may or may not be required to set the DMI voltage when you're going full pot while benching 3D only. Now, I haven't benched 3D full pot yet on my chips. There's a suggestion as well by some of the other extreme overclockers that some chips may need DMI voltage for full pot even when you're doing 2D, but both of my chips don't need it. In fact, on my 7740X, on my first cold session, I put in place the pin. I like pushed it in with lots of tape and stuff. I didn't actually solder it in, and that's the other thing. So what I forgot to mention is that's the RSVD 2 switch. So you need the pin in place, the switch flicked, and then the BIOS automatically sets a particular DMI voltage, and you have the option to raise or lower. You could of course also put the pin in place, not flick RSVD 2, and then set the voltage manually or leave it on auto. I haven't needed it so far. I think Splave said something about 80% of chips not needing it for 3D. I hope I don't have to solder it in, because it is a risk, because if I run a Skylake X, I have to remember the piece of tape on the back, and Extreme Addict mentions in his Rampage 6 guide that the problem with it is you've got a pin that's loose in your box and you have to solder it in. So you have to solder it in because of flexibility, because the metals and the different just the different materials inside of both the PCB of the CPU and of the motherboard expand and contract depending on temperature. So this pin, the thing is, I'm gonna get my chip out again. This is turning into a long story time, but I'm almost done, guys. Hold on. The thing is, on the gold contacts here, you have pins also when you're cold, and they also expand and contract, but you have a gold contact area there to allow you to account for that. And you may scrape the gold contact area a little bit when you insert your CPU a little bit too hard, or you're running your chip sub-zero, whatever. You may have bad contact, but you're not going to kill, chances are you're not going to kill your main board or your chip. But on the resistors in the center here, they're much more fragile. So the same expanding and contracting can kill your chip. Or let's say it can cause the resistor to fail, which means you have to make a really fiddly little repair to your chip, which I don't want to do. So the ideal scenario is never use the pin for anything at all, because even if you have a chip which is golden and needs the pin for 3D, that's not really a comfortable situation to be in, because if you're gonna be full potting it for, if it's your golden chip, 10 sessions, 20 sessions, 50 sessions, eventually you're going to damage the resistor, and then you get as far as I know, if I remember right, you get a 0-0 postcode. Long story, but that's you asked about the switches. Those are the switches. That's what they do. That's a full explanation of everything. So hopefully that was educational at least. I'm going to try and clock some RAM now. Ask me any questions you want. Sorry lady Lex 911 for not coming back to you for a while. So you're on PC, you don't know what your graphics card is, and your Fortnite is blurry. Have you tried to set different settings, like reduce the resolution, anything like that? And if you don't know what your graphics card is, go into right click my computer, and it should show up in there. It might be a jumble of letters and words, but it should tell you. If you Google your graphics card name, the other option is go hit the start button and type in DXDIAG, press enter. If a prompt comes up, just say yes to it, and eventually this big dialog box will come up, and in there it should tell you your graphics card as well. It should be called like GPU or something. Alright, let's try and get back to this. So I have my RGB RAM in there now. It's got nice colors and everything. Let's see if you can clock that at least as high as what we were previously clocking. Which I don't think it did the last time I tried this. So 1.9 DRAM voltage. Let's go 1.85. Actually, the other stick did at 1.7. But yeah, really interesting thing that Intel did. Some people have criticized Intel for doing that, and then criticized Asus for sort of making up for it by including the pin and making the extreme overclockers solder their own pin. But it all kind of makes sense. I mean, how are you gonna put two chips that are so different into the same socket? The only way you can do it is by making one of the pins optional. I'm getting an 01 there. Maybe I can't do 2N command rate on this stick, on this kit. Yes, I got 2 more follows today. I think I'm at 49 now. That's pretty good going. So I may be wrong here, White Shark, but my understanding of it is merely having the pin contacting the back of Skylake X currently can kill your chip. Oh, my title is wrong. It should be Livestream number 2 and just DDR max frequency. So you get what I'm saying? So basically, one mistake was made during the development of these chips. I do understand that. So if very, very, very early on, the two different, you've got to remember, right? Skylake X came from a US design team in Intel, and KB Lake X came from the Israeli design team. So what I'm speculating happened is one team were trying to make the best chip they can make, and the other team were also trying to make the same thing, and because of lack of management oversight or whatever, it was realized too late the situation they got into. So obviously at the very early stages where you haven't made any silicon yet and you haven't added that silicon to a PCB yet, I completely agree. Obviously at that point the Skylake X design team could have said, let's put nothing in that area so that the pin doesn't go anywhere on Skylake X, and then they could have told the KB X team, hey guys, put whatever you want in that area because we're not putting anything there. But I'm just saying, it doesn't take very long in the process of designing a chip to get to the point where the cost of now changing the pin out and changing the design of the chip is so high that you just don't do it anymore. Because 99.9999% of all, maybe even overclockers, not even gamers or consumers of this platform, don't care about this pin. So I'm saying that once that initial oversight was made in the design of the two architectures, this was the best solution they could have come up with. Clearly, in an absolutely perfect world, I agree, the pin would just hit thin air on Skylake X and therefore not damage the chip. But I can understand, I mean, working in tech myself, I can understand how this situation came around. And I really don't mind it because, like I said, my two chips don't need, I mean, I'm in that minority, in that 0.0001%. And even I don't need the pin. It's just people trying to run 3D. And now that Coffee Lake is out, it's not even the best 3D platform anymore anyway, at least for one-way GPUs. Obviously, well, that's the other thing, right? KB Lake X doesn't have enough, even though this slot physically has 4 16x slots, and if you get a Skylake X 7900X or above chip, you have enough PCIe lanes to run 4-way. And I think, at least on the SLI side, on the NVIDIA side, mainstream Intel, so Z370 can only do 2, I think. And then maybe on the Crossfire side, it's 3. It has 3 16x slots. So even if you're like trying to hold on to KBX just for multi-way, it doesn't work because only two slots work. So there's not even in the extreme overclocking world, the 3D uses of this platform are diminishing all the time. I'm going to use it for 3D because I have a 7.1 plus gigahertz chip, but I don't think anybody else does that. I mean, let's think about who else has a fast enough chip to make it worthwhile to run 3D on this platform. I'm pretty sure Splave has a better KB coffee chip than a KB chip. Team AU, so Young Pro has a better coffee chip than KB chip. Crossfire 4-way. Oh, okay, on mainstream, yeah. So there you go. It's only SLI that you need this board for, and then it's Skylake X anyway, so you don't need the pin. I don't know where to go from here. Maybe I've talked about this platform so much I should just build up my DDR3 platform. I've lost my will to clock DRAM suddenly. Let's just go a little bit further. I think I'm going to have to sell this RGB kit. I'm not seeing any benefit from it, I have to say. Pump the volts a little bit. A 3000 megahertz Flare X kit. So the 3200 kit is pretty good. I don't know. I'm not familiar with 3000. Neo, I knew there was a reason you exist. Sorry, that was a bad joke. I'm gonna try a different IMC, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the same stick of RAM I just used. Maestro, I'll get back to your question. The challenge is, right, what really makes me not want to run this bench is, fine, all right, I'm limited to my IMC, but I've got 6 sticks of RAM, and I'm not going to sit here and use up LN2 to iterate through 6 sticks of RAM trying to find the best one on cold IMC. I just don't think that's a good use of LN2. So that would then make it a bench I might never run, you know, which is a shame. I want to get 5 gigahertz, but I also want to get 8 gigahertz actually, now that I have a working crosshair. Maestro, which platform are you on? Are you on Ryzen or Coffee Lake or Skylake or KB Lake? That's pretty disgusting looking, I have to say. And that's a big waste of gelid. So you may be able to even see that the hole at the bottom of the socket here is the DMI pin hole, and what you might not be able to see is sort of below the big bank of resistors, so to the top on the video it's to the bottom right of the big hole that you probably can see is a smaller hole for a temp probe for LN2. Okay, so my 7740X did sort of like heavy multi-core benches that did 6.5, so it's not as amazing as my other chip in terms of core, but IMC should be better. My hope is just that I can figure out a binning routine on air or single stage, because like I say, I just don't want to spend LN2 and time on memory frequency on cold, you know, it's just not. Did I delete? Like I say, it's a bit disgusting, but here's my other chip. I delid all of my chips. So here's my other chip. I have blue tack around the edge, which I'm now going to remove. It can be, because I have this set up for extreme overclocking, there's a lot of paste underneath. Looks like bubble gum. Kind of does, doesn't it? There's a lot of paste under there. Yeah. See? Delete it. Can you even see how these heat sinks, heat spreaders are very thick compared to the mainstream platform. Now I have thermal paste all over my hands. I hope you're happy. Anytime you ask me something and I can demonstrate it visually on the stream, I will, within reason. Where's Oh, I don't think I have my my LN2 equipment here. I can demonstrate a big flame too. But anyway, let's much to learn. I was on stock SA and IO voltages, maybe that was a factor as well. Alright, let's load up the same profile. I don't know, I just have a feeling that the top multiplier is just dead. It doesn't work. So I did this at 1.7. Hi, Dr. Domingo. So it takes a while for my follower count to update, but I have a feeling that I'm actually one follower away from the goal. So if somebody still has that button to press, please press it. I'd really appreciate it. So I'm just looking at my achievements to see if it's updated there. But I was at 47. Yeah, I think I'm at 49 now. What's 96%? Let's go back to my stream page. Maybe it's updated. I was at 47 and I saw 2 follows coming in. I'm at 48 now apparently. That's weird. 2 follows. Somebody unfollowed me. How dare they? I'm not that boring, am I? Okay, so this is the 4133 strap. All booted up, so that's good. So I haven't changed anything here. This is what didn't work on the other chip. The 4266 ratio, new. Which single stick and loose timings I would keep hitting 26. Single stick and loose timings should at least post with fast post disabled. 7 viewers, nice. Wasn't expecting this on a Saturday afternoon. Yeah, the other thing is I don't think anybody has done any serious MemOC. Yeah, oh fuck. So you have to BCLK like shit. Alright, that settles that. White Shark, that would be the most just mean-spirited move ever, because both affiliate and partner on Twitch are sort of invite-only programs. So I guess there's some sort of human intervention there, or some sort of automated check that's done for a couple of hours before I get the affiliate invite. So yeah, an instant unfollow would mean I don't get that invite. So my next question would be, how the hell do people BCLK up so high? Because KVLX is still competitive in terms of MemOC. Yeah, I mean, I know that's how you get. See, it doesn't even do that. I know roughly what the procedure is, but I just don't think BCLK OC is that easy on this platform. The other thing is this board isn't really used for MMOC, so maybe it's just generally bad. Does anybody know which Maximus tweak is the best for memory frequency? I have a feeling it's 1, since all the tight timings, all of the tight memory profiles load up Maximus tweak 2, so that would lead me to believe 1 is better. It's already on 1. So what's my current record again? Oh, 2 more follows. Definitely over the 50 mark now. That's nice. Appreciate it, guys. So 2240, so 4480 effective is my current best, which I mentioned earlier was on the 7350K because that was the best IMC I could throw at an MOCF, which is pretty terrible. Yeah, I'm about to give up on this, I think. I'm trying to train 4200 or something and it's not working. Yeah, Lady Lex, my general advice would be if you have a 4th gen core at the moment, which is pretty decent. So unless there's something else in your system that's really lacking, I think that you should be okay just adding a graphics card. Okay. I am officially done with this system. Let's get out some Hynix MF4. My problem is just I don't know which BIOS settings. I mean, I might have to hit up somebody who owns this board who has done maximum MOC because I really don't know what is limiting me. Yeah, it might be the IMC, but I don't know, maybe I just have bad sticks of RAM. I have RGB RAM, but it doesn't, that doesn't mean it automatically clocks better. It's just the best guys in the world have gone through whatever, 100 kits of RGB and 100 kits of non-RGB and figured out that RGB clocks better in on average in general, but I only have 1 kit. The problem with power on gaming PCs is you can't really figure out how much power you have unless you open up the side of the case and look at the power supply. And even then, not every 650 watt power supply is as good as another 650 watt power supply. So that's tricky. Yeah, we don't even know how many watts there are there, but if it were 650, that would be good. But for Fortnite, I think in terms of graphics cards, I don't know, 1050 Ti maybe is all you need. Maybe not even that. And you should be okay with a low end card like that. What's your budget? Are you just gonna play Fortnite? How much money do you want to spend to make Fortnite run? So this is what the Kingston sticks looks like. They're really meaty heat spreaders on there. Yeah, used is better. I'm just saying for some, like, we're just trying to figure out, Dr. Domingo, for somebody who doesn't know what graphics card they currently have, buying used in graphics cards is probably tricky because if you buy a used card and it's dead, but it's alive enough to go into Windows, that's not easy to diagnose. So I'm just saying in terms of buying something that has a warranty attached and is just easier to add to your system. You know, I think even for a novice, opening up the side panel, locating the slot, taking out the slot guard, and chucking in a graphics card, and then just closing up the panel again and turning it on, is manageable. Now you do the same for a new or or a used card, but at least if the card is dead on a new one, you have warranty and you can just get a replacement. So that's why I said 1050 Ti. I know in terms of absolute best value, no argument for me there. Of course, used is better for graphics cards. Alright, attempt number 2. So Neo, what you might have missed is that I actually wanted to make this a story time and delitting stream, but I couldn't find my my razor blades for delitting. It would have been fun to delit on stream, but I just don't know where those razor blades went. Yeah, Dr. Domingo, I completely agree. No power connector, but I think 1050 Ti's usually, the lower end SKUs don't have power connectors. I have a 1050 Ti and it doesn't have a power connector. Alright, here we go, Haswell. Good old Haswell. Now, I'm on a slightly older BIOS, but I don't think it matters. I was trying to get XP running, I couldn't. If anybody on stream has any pointers about XP on Haswell, it seems to be a bit weird. You can't put blue RAM in black slots, they're incompatible. Nice. Please troll me more. I really like being trolled. Sync all cores. What's Haswell? I suppose 2 gigahertz, maybe even less. Disable a few cores. Quite high on the CPU temp. You can't see it on screen, but it's 52 at the moment. So I'm gonna disable some cores, disable hyperthreading. Maybe even go single core. Nah, let's go 2 cores. So here they actually have a help text for the Maximus modes. Mode 1 helps memory compatibility. Mode 2 helps overclocking and performance. So mode 2 must be the tighter one. Let's go mode 1. Oh. That's just set timings. Let's check for... Interesting. Look at the number of memory. Wow. That'll tell you how much more variety in terms of memory ICs there were on DDR3 versus DDR4. I'm liking this better already. 2 gigabyte raw megahertz. Here we go. 4 gigabyte, 8 gigabyte raw megahertz. So I'm curious to see what that says. So it goes CL12 1414. Where's the command rate? Fast boot enabled. Funnily enough, it doesn't disable full check, but that may be... Yeah, this sense that might be good. Raw megahertz 8. Wow, there's even an entry for raw megahertz 8. I'm impressed by this board already. This is legit stuff. Additional training. We might try that setting out later. This is just a treasure trove of stuff I've never seen on a board because I've only ever OC'd, well, mostly DDR4. But I may be blind, but I don't see a command rate anywhere. Oh, here we go. It's just not a drop down. Nice. Loving it. Loving it already, and I haven't even started overclocking. Okay, so that's definitely going to be a good baseline. I don't even know what MF4 needs in terms of voltage. By the way, I'm going to put a delta fan on here. I'm going to max the Q fan on here as well, just to get our... I'm going to save that as a profile and just reboot. Chassis fan. Just trying to find a placement that maximizes the airflow. That seems decent. Oh, I didn't want to boot into OS, not yet. Yeah, I mean, I did 3000 on Samsung. This should do a couple of hundred megahertz more at least. I'm really keen to get this Sub-Zero. If one of my sticks is good, my next delivery of LN2, I'm actually going to try max frequency on DDR3. I think it's a good way to need 27. Okay, there's some sort of a side chat going on there that I'm not privy to, but I don't care because I'm overclocking here. Let's go 2600, which is the bin of the sticks. Yeah, so all these options are impressive. It's just extreme overclocking was slightly more popular back then, I think, than it is now, unfortunately. It had more vendor support. Okay. I think people like unboxings, so this is something I've clearly opened up before, but this is the LN2 pod by EK for RAM. I had a choice between BART X and EK. I went with EK. BART X is a good guy. I might buy some other equipment from him soon. 1 second, just gonna... Where are my voltages actually? Just gonna disable all this crap. What's GPU.dim? Oh, it's just like a display of what? Where's my DDR voltage? Come on, there should be something more obvious than this. DRAM voltage, here we go. So it's 1.7 at the moment. The kit is rated for 1.65, so I'm gonna go 1.75 for now. 2800. So what have we got in this box? Instruction manual, just some stuff. Came with some Thermal Grizzly. Sub-Zero is Thermal Grizzly, so whichever one that is. It doesn't give a name. Cryonaut, I think. So that's fun. Here are RAM heat spreaders, I suppose. So it attaches to the RAM like this. Set of 2. So I may, if I'm ever going to be adventurous and run 4 sticks for like Sandy, I might have to get new spreaders. These are the aluminium spreaders. For double-sided, obviously, so you have to put extra tape in there or whatever to run it. And this is the pod itself. Nice and shiny. So it sits on the RAM like this. You want, it's sort of, I don't know, RAM on LN2 is a little bit the opposite to a CPU. On the CPU you want a good mount. With RAM you anticipate more, not that I've run it before, but this is what people tell me, you anticipate more condensation issues. So you actually may not even want to screw it down, you just want to have it sitting on top of the RAM. So, and you actually have higher temperature deltas as well. So the other day somebody was running RAM at just low positive temps. It was like 1 degree or 3 degrees IC temperature, but top pot temp was like -40, because you're constantly sort of like moving around the pot and just resting it on there. Can it take acetone? I don't know. So that's the structure inside. Again, you're not trying to optimize the heat transfer. You're trying to optimize control. So you want a big mass, and you want to be able to easily pour. So it's got lots of space to pour into in the top. And maybe even something that's cooler than that is I've got a single stage attachment. So this will be hard to demonstrate, but let's say you have a single stick of RAM just in the slot like this, then the single stage attachment goes up on top here. There's a set of screws and stuff to attach it, and I think it's got, if you see the inside holes there, the hole here and the hole here, that's an AM3 mounting. So as long as your single stage plate, like the plate on your single stage, has an AM3 mounting, which is pretty common, you can then use these massive rod type screws to attach the single stage, and there's some springs in there as well, so it's not affixed to it like that. So this is pretty cool. I'm definitely going to run that, maybe even first. It just all depends on what's the kind of least setup intensive thing that I can do. If I figure out that my 4770K IMC is pretty good and scales well with my sticks, then I may decide to run Air 4770K with single stage, if the single stage comes back to life. There are a few different options, but if I need cold, then the next less kind of setup in stay a sexy tech forever. The next least setup intensive thing I can do for max DDR is single stage on the IMC on the CPU, and then maybe LM2 on the DDR3. But that's getting close. I mean, I hate how loud my single stages, so at that point I may just decide to run both on LN2. But it's tricky because I don't think there has been an IMC, maybe some of the AMD stuff, but I don't think there's been a recent Intel IMC that was most efficient in terms of timings or max frequency at full pot. And anyway, Haswell you can't run at full pot, but even right next to the cold bug, I don't know if that's even the best temperature for your IMC. So I'd rather just turn on a single stage and forget about it. Hype, lots of people in chat. Welcome to the stream and thanks for joining. So what are we at now? We're at 2800. That's not that hard to do for this RAM. It's kind of hard. I'm trying to overclock with. I'm kind of trying to navigate BIOS with my offhand. But this is the best setup I've found. So 2933, 62 boot code is something I really like to see. That's the other thing. Haswell was so much less. It had so many fewer boot codes to run through to post. Does anyone know MF4 scaling at all? You've seen more OC on a Linus video than on the stream. Great, that's brilliant. The only problem is Linus doesn't know fucking anything about OC, so it doesn't matter how much OC he does. It's just not going to be informative. So that's like that looks like a fail. I don't have a retry button here, do I? I have a keybot button and a soundstage button. Don't know what that is. I do have a memo key up here, so that's nice. Hi Ginger Nuts. I think if you're just joining Ginger Nuts, I think we made the 50 followers today, judging by how many emails I got for new followers, so that's nice. Affiliate status soon. I just don't know how. I mean, PSC goes to 2 volt, but I really don't know what MFR is all about. Come on, slow internet. You can do it. This is painful. I mean, it must go over 1.75. Let's go 1.85. The number is turning red. That's always good in an ACES bias. That means you're going in the right direction. Here we go, 1.85. Let's try the 3000 strap again. If I only knew where it is. I might need to bump SA voltage at this point. Is Extreme Systems down maybe? It's another 23. Wow, that's not a lot of OC, is it? Maybe I need to loosen my timings. This is horrible, guys. Really horrible internet. Let's do it like this. Let's look up what the guys with the best scores have in terms of. Oh, Lumi dropped some 10 core results. Some really good 10 core results. Sorry, I'm gonna have to once again divert the stream here and do some running commentary on results. Okay, he's got a global first in GPU Pi, and what is he? Freestyler as a submission video. I respect that. I think that was a Finnish band, and he's Finnish, so that makes sense. 6.070. I mean, beating Splay by 5 milliseconds, but 5 milliseconds is 5 milliseconds. Yeah, they're just at the same clock, same everything. 3800 RAM. What does Splave have? As we once again wait for my internet. That's 3840. Okay, good efficiency then. What OS is he using? Just bog standard Windows 7. And I presume the OC formula. Oh, he's on the dark. EVGA taking a global first place. That's not something that happens a lot in 2D. So there's a debug LED for paste contact. Really, really interesting. I didn't expect that to happen. So did he take Cinebench as well? Yeah, the only thing, thanks for posting the vid. I'll look at it later. That usually screws up my stream because my internet is so bad. But did he manage first? He managed first on Cinebench. Geekbench Multi. I don't really care for W Prime or XTU, to be honest. Just the third for X265. That's to be expected. I don't think EVGA is as strong on memory OC. What's this on GPU Pi? Geekbench, also a first. It's pretty nice. Okay, so we're gonna look at the memory frequency. I don't know if Sophos's sub is good to look at because he's just an absolute legend. So I think he had an oscilloscope out and everything. So I don't know if this is really good to look at just because he's using the LN2 board as well, which Gigabyte is quite far away from Asus in terms of everything. Not saying good or bad, but just very different. Obviously a 4770K, I'm imagining. Yes, he's down at 1 core 1 thread, 14 31 31 to 63. Let's try that. And Windows XP, of course. Yeah, thanks for checking that out, Dr. Domingo. I imagined it did. Yeah, the thing is, when people go for max frequency, they usually just max all these timings. Cookie as well. So all 14, 31, 31, 31, 63, I'm imagining. Can I go? There's no 3N command rate. Okay, this should get me to 3000 surely. MF4 is surprisingly hard to get. I don't really want to kill anything. I'm gonna go 1.9 and that's it. That should be alright. Another 23. See, now there's a fan in the way. I have to be careful that I don't get my finger caught in the fan. Is that another broken multiplier? Let's try the multiplier up. I would have imagined that MFR, so 3400 is the highest mult. You're saying that the DDR3 world record video is a good video? Or Bumfung MC having a finger missing? This is just not turning out the way I imagine it. But that's okay. At least we're having fun. Let's just BCLK up from 2933. In fact, let's check whether the new timings work on 2933. Maybe I did something wrong there. Yeah, it's a nice and fast boot, or post rather. Almost 2 hours already. So this will give me 3103 BCLK. I hate how they break higher straps. It's so weird. Why do they want you to use BCLK? So my current record was somewhere around here actually. 1510. So I'm two megahertz away from it. But of course I still need to boot OS. And I got that with BCLK in OS. So this stick is already beating my Samsung, which is not surprising, of course. So this is a 3050. I would go into OS to validate this if it were to work. Doesn't look terrible yet. I should not have hit save and exit there. Now I believe that the version of Turbo V it's commonly used these days for Skylake, KB Lake, Coffee Lake, KB Lake X, and so on, is not compatible with Haswell E, or sorry, regular Haswell. I'm just going to confirm that now. If it isn't, then that's fine. I can find the right version. But I think that's one of the oddities about Haswell, is that it has its own version of Turbo V for some reason. No MEI driver. Okay, let's get that. Oh, there's even a page on overclocking.guide if it ever opens up. Might be worth pasting in chat. Not really sure why they decided to make a break there. I mean, Turbo V is famous for having support for everything, so just gonna add that to a USB stick. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, back to the system. I wonder if Sophos still has the skills for DDR3. Maybe I should PM him, ask him. You know, man, back in the day when you were on DDR3, back on 30th of June 2014. Do you remember what you did back then? Suppose I'll have to uninstall previous version of Turbo V. Hi Land Fusion. Hopefully you're welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're enjoying it. This is one of the more sort of dry streams I'm going to have, both in terms of not having beer like I usually do, and also the benchmark that I'm benching. Still asking for an MEI driver. I don't think MEI driver installation works on an OS as new as this. I think it just tells you it's already installed. What are you talking about? Let's try a different OS. So Wimbledon is starting on Monday. Any tennis fans in here? So my follower display still shows 50, even though I had 47 and I got 4 new ones. So it's showing 49 at the moment, not 50. Let's see. A resounding no. Come on. Okay, Football World Cup, Poker World Series. It's got to be something people are watching in terms of sports. Oh, that's a nice background. Yeah, no USB drivers. Let's go for the PS2 route. This is also not a Z97 OS. If it really came down to it, I could image my existing Z97 Win 7, but my goal is to get XP working anyway, so these are all just OSs I have lying around. Fortnite. Fortnite is such a degenerate game. No, I'm joking. Play whatever games you want. All games are degenerate, really, when it comes down to it. No keyboard detected. Well, screw you. It's attached to the PS2. See, there's a keyboard. Here we go. Same boot up process again. VNK, welcome. This is DDR3 above 3000 megahertz. As long as I can get the OS running. If you haven't already, please press the follow button. I am, at least according to my current stats, exactly 1 follower away from getting to Twitch affiliate, which would be huge, which I've been working towards for a month or so. What is my job? I work in IT. Come on. No USB drivers? Are you serious? Okay. Let's do it like this. Let us go the very, very safe route here and re-image. Oh, I think it just found the drivers in the nick of time. I was just about to go take the nuclear option. So White Shark, I graduated computer engineering, so Bachelor of Engineering in computer engineering, and ever since then, about almost 7 years now, I've been working in airline IT. It's more on the system side, so I'm sort of like DevOps, system admin, sort of that kind of role, operations. That's all I can really say. There's only 2 airline IT companies out there. You could probably figure out which one it is if you really wanted to, but I'd rather not say. So I work in an office, hacking away at a keyboard, really. That's all I do. So now we have working keyboard but not working mouse. So let's go to the same USB hub for the mouse as the keyboard, and that should work. good. Let's validate that. That's a new personal best. First, let's go down in resolution. This is my GPU Pi OS. Normal servers or mainframes? That's a really interesting question. I'm going to get back to very, very soon. Thanks for asking that question. That is a very contentious question, believe it or not. I've imaged this OS so I can screw around with it if I really want to. So here we go. Our memory is at about 3080 effective. Command rate 2, which is what we like to see. Maybe our TRFC can go higher. Certainly 31 for the middle timings is extremely loose for DDR3. But let's just take a validation file and make sure it really saved. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's a new personal best by quite a bit. Now, let's try installing Turbo V again. Let's do our clean install. The short answer to your question, White Shark, is not mainframes anymore, but I did look after mainframes. But I will give you a long answer since you asked, and it's like 6 a.m. for you, you know, so clearly you're in for a long answer. You're up for that. So while we're rebooting, I can say names. This is a really general comment. Big companies like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, 7 now. Yeah, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, so the big payment providers, a competitor in the airline IT segment, a lot of the rail providers like SNCF, until not so long ago, big airlines as well like British Airways and Japan Airlines. All of those ran, my cooler just fell off. All of those big companies ran a product by IBM called TPF, Transaction Processing Facility, which is a mainframe. And my honest opinion is it's quite a good system. And okay, so the thing about MEI drivers missing here is that I can do something about it on Windows 7 because Windows 7 allows you to install them, whereas I don't think 8 and above do. But yes, there's a push towards virtualization and regular Linux servers all across IT in general, and it caught on in the travel industry too, where I don't think it has as much of a reason to exist as it does for Facebook or Google. But yeah, we're virtualizing and changing to Linux. I have nothing against Linux, I just don't think it's a good strategy for massive transaction processing. Okay, so much political talk today and controversial talk. Let's go normal startup. Let's give it a reboot, why not? I need to copy over the MEI drivers anyway. It's only going to be idling in OS. So what makes you ask, White Shark? Are you in IT as well? Huh? ME consumer. Okay, I just had to figure out what the file is called because it's not called MEI. So I do have a copy of it. Let's see if this is going to work. So many USB ports and only some of them work. You're still studying. What area are you studying? Computer science? You don't have to say. I'm just curious. Yes! Sweet Turbo V. Here we come. We already have a validation at 3080 in the bag. Let's go up one BCLK. Okay, that's 3100. Let's validate that. I'm going to just push a little bit here, and then obviously I'm going to try and boot at a higher BCLK, maybe mess around with system agent a little bit. It seems really stable, like it's going to go miles and miles and miles higher. There's a limit to how many BCLK you can go up in OS, so I'll probably hit that limit, but I think the stick can do quite a bit higher. F7 is the shortcut for saving a validation file. I think there's some sort of a meme ongoing with Buildzoid, so Buildzoid F7 is the file for validation. There's a VCC IO on Skylake, KB Lake, Coffee Lake, but that's the single voltage. On Haswell, it's split into analog and digital. Alt F4. Hold on, Neo. Let me try that. Ooh, what happened? That's an ancient joke. People were making those jokes in the mid-90s. Press Alt F4. Weak sauce. You can do better than that, Neo. We're approaching 3,200 now. We've passed 3,200. That just hung, but that's fine. Things I don't have a retry button, so I have to kind of power cycle to retry, because in a hung system the reset button doesn't do anything. A 1.0 boot code. It's kind of weird. Should correct itself. Buildzoid is I don't know what to say, but he's sort of selectively intelligent, you know? He's good at volt mods. But as soon as I saw him run Ryzen on Windows 10 cold, I knew there was not, you know, there was something up. Okay, let's memo K this and then go back to. Oh, even memo K isn't working. All right. Can't cold boot from memo K. Okay, did I kill something on ambient? I don't really know what to do here. So that was stick number. Oh, I haven't labeled these HyperX's. Just gonna make a label out of this stuff. Kids Turbo V running board is dead. Yeah, that's my life pretty much. Duct tape. Pretty much. Did I mispronounce it, Ginger Nuts? Or I don't know, I don't get the joke. Yes, it's duct tape. Duct tape. Okay, I'm gonna ladle this other steak that I haven't used yet. Number 2. Maybe I need to pull CMOS. Maybe that's a smart thing to do. Maybe it just hard froze itself in some way. CMOS is under the graphics card, of course, just to make it a little bit more unappealing. Okay. Duct tape. Painter's tape works better at labeling RAM sticks. Are you sure that's a statement you want to make? Does it really matter? Honestly. Show the tape. This is my tape. It's grey. Comes on a roll. My camera is even focusing on it. Look at that. Amazing tech. Are you happy now? That's looking better. Just needed a little rest. That board. Bob and Pro both do it. Okay, those are good benchers, but just I don't understand why is there a best or you know, or not best for labeling sticks. It just needs to stick to the RAM stick, that's all. Okay, let's go back to what we were doing, which wasn't very much, admittedly, but let's go like 106. Boot at 10. Yeah, let's boot at 106. I'm just going to keep to these settings, I think. I'm going to keep SA at stock and see how far the stick goes, then quickly throw the second stick in, and I think that's going to be the end of the stream. But it's been fun. Saying that, it's probably still going to take, you know, an hour at the pace I'm going. 49 followers, I don't believe it. Tank tape? Never heard of tank tape. Oh, because duct tape is so multi-purpose that you can even keep a tank together, that kind of thing. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I don't think we literally call it tank tape though. The weird thing is about validation files is they're labeled according to core, which I don't care about. So that's 3100. Just quickly gonna go into diagnostic mode as well. And I think MF4 likes maximum as well. You're an air conditioning tech and you use duct tape on ducting. That's I don't think that's an acceptable use, Ginger Nuts. I think painter's tape is much better for ducts, you know, and then duct tape is better for painting. I think that's how it works. Being an expert in the field, I think that's how it breaks down, you know. This is the wrong shortcut. Gotta find my real shortcut. Of course I need to re-enable the ASUS COM service. Iceland versus Greenland. What do you mean? Iceland and Greenland are two different countries. Is there somebody who thinks they're the same? Come on, that's a troll. MEI drivers? Oh, I think there's something called the clock service. Hold on. Might be management instrumentation. Integrated clock controller service. Yeah, that's the one. ICCS for short, or for long probably. I'm gonna start labeling my files because I'm just gonna forget how high I've gone, and that's not good. CPZ. I got just above 3200. Oops. Get to adjust one slider in OS. I love it. This is real overclocking, guys. This is purest overclocking. The handle is invalid. I don't care if the handle is invalid. I still want to use Turbo V. Come on, Turbo V. So this is our 3200 file. 3200 is, you know, a good OC. I'm starting to get the memory errors. 3210. Let's see if we can validate 3210. No. Okay. Blue screen. Who's gonna write it in chat? So once I get my 50 followers, which is just one follower away currently according to Twitch, there's gonna be emotes. One emote is gonna be the 2 volt emote. So anytime I go 2 volt DRAM voltage, doesn't matter if it's DDR3 or BDI, or 2 volts core voltage, which a lot of architectures, you need full put for that, so that's a reason to hype. I'm gonna have an emote for that, and then obviously a blue screen emote if I can somehow figure out a way for it to make sense, for it to look like an actual blue screen, even though it's a tiny little emote like that. This is looking like a post. I don't know what's normal for MF4, but I'm happy to be a couple of hundred megahertz above what I was on Samsung. And yeah, I think 1.9 is probably a relatively conservative thing. DDR voltage to be running. This is almost 3200 in BIOS, so that's... But once you get sort of in the 110 range, I think Haswell is better for BCLK overclocking, but if this were Z77, it would start to get a bit dicey. This is looking like another post, hopefully. Yes. What's the reference frequency record on this? That's a hang. Let's just try and get it to boot. (200 megahertz reference frequency). All right then. Is that fake? No, everybody seems to be able to do that. Not in conjunction with good RAM though, I would imagine. Okay. Can I hit Memo C? Memo K? Yeah. Go down in half BCLK steps. 108.5 might boot. Come on, BIOS. Hangs in BIOS are quite demoralizing because there's no reason for them really, especially when you just press Memo K. Yes, Memo K. That means you should be able to go into BIOS. That's sort of the entire point of Memo K. Quite literally. Ah, it didn't. It's still showing. Well. Okay. Time for another CMOS wipe. It was, for some reason, even with Memo K, it was going to BIOS at 3200. VNK, welcome to the stream, if I haven't mentioned you already. If you haven't pressed follow yet, please press it because I'm apparently one follower away from my Twitch affiliate goal. Okay, I'm just going to boot that. 108.5. That's pretty decent. .64 hang. A2. AE. I'm excited. Is everybody else excited? I'm excited. This might actually boot into Windows. Blue screen. Let's go 108. Maybe that's where maximum comes in. I did jinx it, White Shark. Yeah, I need to... I am really good at jinxing stuff. Even on LN2, I'll be halfway through a run and everything's going fine, and I go, oh, this should pass. And yeah, as soon as I say it, it's just over. Even so, I think my last boot into Windows was 106, so if I can get 108 to go. What was that, 108? Let's go 107.5. Yeah, I disabled audio LAN. I don't think I disabled iGPU. Maybe that's worth disabling. Oftentimes that doesn't really help, but okay, storage. I mean, I could disable SATA controllers, but yeah, so LAN is off. The second storage controller, I'm just going to disable that as well. USB 3.0 is off. Audio is off. BCLK recovery. That would be interesting to know what BCLK recovery is. Okay. I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just going to sit here, watch the glowing balls just rotate around, and then everything's going to be fine. There we go. Does VCC in? Yeah, VCC in has to be higher than the other voltages, but I don't think there's any other relationship. What's the last file we got? Did we get a valid file? No, it was 3200, and then the next one, it didn't save a file. And we are in extreme OC mode. It's always helpful. You see, with 4 GB sticks, maximum should do something. Okay. Yeah, I've got to enable the maximum now. Maybe 1 GB maximum. After that, I'll swap sticks, I think. There's lots of stuff I could still tweak, but I'm sort of getting towards the end. I'm liking the green PCB. Nobody goes for green PCBs anymore on RAM. It's a shame. It's a classic look. Maximum. Let's try 1,000. White Shark, can you link the tool, please? I know that there's a different method for maximum. I just haven't gotten around to trying it yet. So I would appreciate if you could link it just in chat, and then everybody can try it, and I'll try it off stream. And maximum did apply. We're at 999 total memory. Thanks, White Shark. Okay, that's another hang. Is it a BCLK or a memory related hang though? I'm going to drop the mem multiplier all the way down and just see if it's the board. Because if it is, there's no point in checking the other stick as well. Let's go way down to like 2000. Keep in mind, if you go from high-end desktop to normal with that enabled, it's not going to boot. With the utility enabled or with a particular maximum setting enabled? I must say this has been the most fun I've had memory, maximum frequency memory overclocking ever, I think, which is not saying a lot, but it is saying something. So our memory is down to 1,000. Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm building more and more overclocking OS images as I go anyway, and right now I probably have at least one image per platform, so I would re-image before I switch platforms anyway in general. I don't right now, but I'm getting closer and closer to doing that all the time. So, but thanks for the warning. That does make sense. I mean, obviously when you have quad channel, because you're removing from the total pool of memory, right? So if you have quad channel B-die, single-sided, you're going to be on 32 gigabytes of RAM, and you have to remove, let's say, 30 gigabytes. But then if you then move that OS image to Haswell or something, you can't remove 30 gigabytes out of 4. So I think that's what you're getting at. Hopefully I'm on the right track. Tell me if I'm not. Okay, we can safely BCLK up much higher. It's a memory thing. That's good. So this is getting close. I mean, it's not perfect, but this is getting closer to a binning strategy now. On DDR4, I didn't have a binning strategy. I had no idea if it's the board, the BIOS, the whatever. Here let's actually try and hit. Yeah, this is, I mean, this is getting close to just no BCLK limitations whatsoever, really. Let's make sure it's really being set. Yeah, it's being set. I'm gonna grab a validation actually just to sub that. Yeah, I've had that situation before, White Shark, where, okay, that's a hang, where I set maximum to such a bad value I wasn't even able to get into safe mode. And that was before I used Macrium Reflect. Anybody who doesn't know Macrium Reflect, it's, a lot of people use Ghost. The problem with Ghost is it doesn't support all OSs. But yeah, Macrium Reflect is free and it's modern. It's a good way to image your OSs, and I was always afraid of spending time imaging OSs because I thought it would be a really long winded kind of process, but actually Macrium Reflect makes it quite easy. Okay, we're going back to our 107.5. Yeah, I just don't know how much DRAM voltage to give this thing. So system agent is at 0.84. Let's go 1.1 digital I/O and analog as well, and 1 volt system agent, and see if that does anything whatsoever. Maybe I gave it too much. Dead 4770K. Nice boot loop. I prefer offsets for SA and IO actually, to be honest. Don't really know what to set on this platform. Just gonna give the second stick a quick run to see if it's noticeably better. If it is, I'll spend the time to manually adjust SA and IO. CMOS clear. Yeah, Haswell, or this board in particular is just, I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing, but just compared to KB Lake, it just, or DDR3 in general, just does completely differently in terms of how fast it goes through all the postcodes and everything. Okay, let's just load the same settings and see if this stick will do. Time for lunch after this. I'm not gonna eat anymore on stream. Just gonna end the stream pretty soon, I think. Just want to check out the second steak. I hope I don't have to do too much MF4 bidding. I only have this one kit. That's a post. So since we saw no big issues with raising BCLK in OS, I'm just going to boot to OS. How's everyone's weather? 30 degrees like White Shark, or not as crazy as that? So Neo, you have an LN2 board. Why the hell have you not run it for max valid yet? Seriously. I would have been the next person to buy that board if you hadn't been quicker. And I probably would have run it on LN2, like IMC LN2 and DDR LN2 already. You're hogging a board for no reason. Get your ass into gear. How many did they make? They made like 50 of those boards, and one of them is just sitting around in Neo's benching room doing nothing. It's a travesty. Oh, nice. 2 weeks. But how much do you have? Like, if it's your first bench meet, you got to realize that you're going to be benching way less than you think you're going to be benching. So even if let's say it's a long weekend, a 4-day weekend, and you're going to bench 16 hours a day, that's probably kind of unrealistic, but just imagine for a second you're going to bench 16 hours a day. You might think that, 64 hours of benching, oh, that's going to be like, 10 different benches, 10 different setups, 10 different teardowns or whatever. It's probably not going to be that. It might only be 4 or 5. So if you think, like, if your most important benches are, you already have a list of 5 or 6 things lined up, and you think, once I'm done with those, I'm going to bench DDR3 max valid, you're probably not going to get to that. So push it up your list of stuff and maybe make the list smaller is my recommendation. Not showing a postcode. So has it posted before and you've done something, or are you saying that Leg actually sold you a dead board, which would be pretty dodgy? Hopefully not that. Yeah. It's got exactly the same limit, so I'm C limit maybe. But didn't I link you the Broadwell bias? Is there a way to? Oh, I get what you're saying. So you can't. Yeah, you can't actually flash the Broadwell bias because you don't have enough stability to even get to the point where you can flash. Well, that's depressing. I'm going to leave the analog and digital IOs alone. Oh, now system agent is showing 1.2. Okay, let's go like 1.35. When does it start to become red? 1.4? 1.9? Oh, 2.2. 2.2 is the max. Yeah, okay, so I would recommend to make that a priority and actually maybe even just your first bench. Don't spend, 3 days on it, but like at least get it going or not, So 2.2 would kill the chip. I reckon 2.1 will kill the chip. 2 as well. 1.9, 1.8, 1.7, 1.6. I might even run 1.5 on ambient, to be honest. Let's start with 1.35 though. That was a pretty easy post. $2700X. I'm getting a 2700X in relatively soon, I think. 32M. 32M is addictive, and I don't think it's a good benchmark, to be honest. I would go more for sort of Cinebench, X265, that kind of stuff. I think we've gotten more OC out of it now. If this boots, I'm gonna bump it up. Ugh. No, it's not. Nah, it's not going anywhere. This is not conducive to anything. Yeah, that'll be the end of the stream for today, I think. Didn't get many results, but it was fun hanging out, and I got 2 more followers. Still 1 follower away, so maybe tomorrow night, I don't know, maybe a morning stream again. We'll see. I'll be streaming tomorrow because I need to get that last follower to finally take that off the list. I don't want to be trying to get followers anymore. Like I said, it's my first and last follower goal. But yeah, thanks all for hanging out with me. I'll be posting subs pretty soon, and I would imagine that my capture card will get here this week. So time permitting, but I think next Friday I'll probably have an LN2 stream, and I may not stream in the middle, so I may stream tomorrow. In terms of what I'm going to stream, yeah, Neo, that's the thing. This is how I get the US audience. Which capture card? So I got a good deal from Truth. It was an AverMedia. It's not, I think it's called a PCG. Let me double check that. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's the best capture card in the world. It's probably better than an Elgato, but not as good as an ePeak. Yeah, well, look, Truth sounds amazing as a source for a card, but it's not an ePeak. It's just one of the sort of backup capture cards he had. He gave me a good deal on it, and I appreciate it. And like I say, it's probably a better capture card than, let's say, an Elgato. Not as good as an ePeak, not as good as some of the stuff that Yos has, the really expensive stuff. But it should do okay. Let me scroll back to, I can't even remember. LPG, not a PCG, an LPG. So this is it. Let's have a look at the specs. I just saw the good price and I was like, that's better than punching a camera. Tech specs. So 1080p 30. My internet is so crap anyway. I never finished the story about the internet. I'm not gonna get NBN internet until mid of next year. So I'm stuck with 4G, and 5G won't come out until mid of next year either. So I'm stuck with 4G. I may eventually bump up my resolution to 1080p 30, but I don't really need anything higher than that. So pass through. So a lot of the Elgatos don't have pass through, so that's good. PC free I don't care about. Ultra low latency I don't care about. The built-in encoding I don't care about, or anything like that. It's OES compatible, so that's all I care about. It's got a hot button, whatever that means. I mean, it's decent. That's what it looks like. So you've got your HDMI in and out, which could be a problem. I think I have passive HDMI converter adapters anyway for the older system, so I can go DVI HDMI and then to the AverMedia. It's nice and small. I'm always struggling to find enough space on my bench table. It's got an SD card for some reason. Oh no, that's just a button. Yeah, I won't be using the audio. Alright, well, so that's my capture card coming in. Is there no pause button? Let's go up. Here we go, that's what it looks like. It doesn't need external power either, so that's nice. Yeah. It's pretty much the end of the stream. So a camera pointed at a monitor might be better. So those are my plans. Yeah, it's tricky. I usually stream after, if I want to get more than one stream in a week, it's usually gonna be after work during the week. So, well, I mean, what other time would I be able to stream? I'm not gonna stream before work. That's madness. So after work is sort of the timing where, let's check it out actually. If people don't know time and dates, meeting planner is really useful. You can throw as many different locations in there as you want. Yeah, change cities. Yeah, no, so Sydney. Berlin, let's say, for the European guys, and then Chicago for like guys like Yas. I think those are. I don't think I've ever gotten West Coast viewers, to be honest. So this is what I'm talking about. So let's say I stream at 6 p.m. my time. That's 10 a.m. Berlin. So for people who don't work 9 to 5, that's fine. So that's usually the viewers I get during the week. But then it's 3 a.m. Chicago time. So that's really, if it's a 6-hour stream, nobody's going to be staying up until 3 and then watching until 9 a.m. And for some reason I have London in there as well, which is only a 1 hour difference. With the first 3 columns, there's no real way to line them up. I mean, even if I start my stream at like 10 p.m. and stream until like 1 a.m., that starts to become interesting for for the central time zone in the US. But people will probably be working 9 to 5 anyway, so they'll still not tune in. Whereas it gets, I suppose it's still an okay timing for Europe. I can't see chat during work. Yes, I'm sure they'd appreciate it if I brought LN2 to work. So that's my midweek timing, and my weekly stream will be Fridays at those times, maybe a little bit later. So that's Friday night, so that's Friday morning US. So that's not ideal for Neo and Yas. So whereas today I started streaming around midday, so that was 4 a.m. European time, 9 p.m. Central. So I think anything else, sort of afternoon for me, is further back in the afternoon, like is getting towards my midweek timing. Earlier in the morning, I don't think there's much point in that. That's just people are having dinner in the US, and it's still not a great timing for Europe. So yeah, those are my options. But now I'm really going to stop rambling on and catch some food. If I start at 5 a.m. at work, you're full of you're full of useful suggestions, Ginger Nuts. Okay, thanks for watching. If you haven't hit follow yet, please press that. I am literally 1 follower away. Otherwise, see you soon, hopefully. Bye.